A very good Tuesday afternoon to you. Hoping I find you very well on what is a delightful day here in Manchester. Blue skies, sunshine, absolutely brilliant. We should have seen more of this in July. So the video title kind of says it all. It's a question that's been kind of rumbling around in my head for a while, and I think I can probably safely assume that certainly in the heads of all those that voted leave, that question is floating around in your head as well. So given that we're now 15 months down the road after the IndyRef for us as Britain to come out of the EU, you would have thought, as naive as I am anyway, that potentially we will be in a position by this point in time where a clear route to our exit from the EU in 18 months or so, March, whatever date it is, 2019, that things are now trolling along quite merrily. And we, the people who voted to leave, can see a result of what we voted for, and we can see that coming down the track. No. The problem is, as I perceive it, is that there are too many people in power in Britain who were, and indeed still are, Remainers. And as it also appears to me that there's a large majority of politicians who don't seem to either A, understand, or B, support democracy. And this is the argument that Ramonas, people who feel that we who voted to leave were incorrect, always put up, that we who voted to leave are ill-educated and unwashed, such as myself, old fuddy-wuddies, such as myself, little Englanders. Now, I'm not a little Englander, but I am an Englander. Well, why wouldn't I be? Born here, raised here, English, you know. Believe that we didn't have what it takes to make a informed decision for what is best for the country, in my view. And as we're well aware, my whole ethos in life is that everybody has an opinion, and that opinion is as valid as mine, as valid as anybody experts out there. And so shall I believe that throughout the rest of my life. So, going back to the question, why is it not done and dusted? Well, it can't be done and dusted for one major reason. One, it's a big, big issue. We were, in my view, a very partisan view, I appreciate, suckered in back in the mid-70s to an organisation that we were told was going to be one thing, and as time has gone along, people such as me have seen or perceive that it is now heading at a great pace towards it being something else, and that something else is a federalist state, which I don't want to live in, to be perfectly honest. And it's not as if it's a big country just with states, as it is in America. You kind of have to be a federalist state, as it were. But as I think I said in my Brexit-related videos prior to the vote, it's very, very different, because you are all Americans living under one flag, even though you live in different states. Whereas we here in Britain are different countrymen and women. You know, if you are somebody who's born in Edinburgh, they will say that they are Scottish. They will rarely say that they are British. If you ask people in Ireland, either Northern or the Republic, the chances are, you know, they will say that they are Irish. If you go to Cardiff or Swansea and ask somebody there, they will say they're Welsh. And of course, here in England, although it's unfavourable to be English, you, for some reason, can't say you're English. You don't really have a choice on all these forms that you type in your nationality or tick a box. You can't say you're English. You've got to be white British. But I'm England, I was born here, raised here. I am English. I'm an Englishman. That's what it is. So we, as all these different peoples, and within each country there are many, many different districts and dialects and little quirks that all people have from different areas. So we can't be a federalist state. So let's get back to the question: why is it that it seems that we are not motoring towards the result that we thought we were voting for? Well, I think the key thing is here, as I say, a large percentage of people who are trying to push through Brexit weren't in favour of Brexit anyway, so why should they hurry? They are hoping, I think, that they can put across to us, the people who voted to leave, that this is such a complex matter that we will get so fed up of all the left turns and right turns and deals being made and negotiations apparently and different agreements being signed and worries about jobs and the economy that the Remainers and certainly the EU non-elected bureaucrats want to put across, that we're going to lose trade rights and that kind of thing. They want to make it appear so convoluted that we're just going to give up on it and say, oh, you know, forget it, it's too much trouble. And that's, I think, is the main reason that they're purposefully dragging their feet to try to, at some point in the relatively near future, how can I say, give us the opportunity to make the correct decision. Very reminiscent of the IndyRef vote, of course, in Scotland. Both Alex Salmond, when he was leader, and now Nicola Sturgeon, of course, want to keep asking the question of the Scottish people until the Scottish people get it right. You ill-educated people, you made the wrong decision. And that's what people think about us, people like me, who voted to leave. We got it so wrong, we don't realise we got it wrong because we're so stupid we can't comprehend that. So they are hoping we're going to get so disenchanted by the waiting that we're just going to, oh God, we may as well stay in. That's the first thing. The second thing is, I think that the EU are genuinely worried that the impact on Britain is not going to be anywhere near as drastic as we were told, that we will actually prosper quite well, thank you very much, because at the end of the day, yes, you know, the potential is there for us to lose certain trade deals in Europe, but two of the biggest German companies, BMW and Volkswagen, for instance, we are one of their major markets. Plus the fact, of course, VW and BMW own Rolls-Royce and Bentley. And whichever way you cut it, those two names are the two prestige brands in the car market. So why would German companies not want to deal with us here in Britain, where their manufacturing bases are, as it were? I just don't understand that. I don't think it's in anybody's interest who was, stroke is, a Remainer to make this transition quicker. It just isn't. So they will drag it out as long as possible. And the latest thing is that they've thrown in the mix, of course, is that this so-called divorce settlement, that money we will have to pay as and when we leave the EU. Well, my view is this, and it's a very simple one, and please point me out where I'm going wrong. If you would join a club, as it were, so let's say it's January the 1st, and you've made a New Year's resolution. You say, well, I'm going to get fit this year. I'm going to get fit, and I'm going to join a gym. That's what I'm going to do. And you do what everybody else does, and you go 3 or 4 times, and basically that's it. So you decide to end your subscription. Now, would you consider, if you're not going to the gym anymore, would you carry on paying them? Well, the EU, for the sake of this argument, is the gym. And you sign a contract with them, and you say, right, you know, it's going to cost you £800 for the first year. You can pay it in instalments, or you can pay it up front, or whatever. But that is what you'll pay for the first year. Well, if you leave within that first year, well, you're not getting the benefit of the first year, but hey-ho. But after that first year, when you want to leave the club, would you think it's right that you have to pay to leave? I mean, they've had your money. They've been getting your money for the last number of months, or in the EU's case, the last 30 years. They've been getting that money. Why should we pay to leave? Now, as I understand it, and again, because I'm a great unwashed and ill-educated, as you know, please let me know if there's a treaty or an agreement or something like that that was drawn up that specifically says, and the key word, specifically says, that any state leaving the EU will have to pay a divorce settlement or some form of phrase encompassing that. Let me know. I will be really, really interested to find out. I also think, and the second important point, I also think that if we do leave successfully, and we can demonstrate that that move away from the EU can be beneficial, painless, which will result in very little, if any, changes in our economy, then I think the EU are very, very concerned that other nations will follow our lead. As I understand it, my partner is Irish. She comes from the Republic of Ireland, so she's properly Irish. There is a movement called IREXIT, I-R-E-X-I-T. So there is a body now in Ireland that are trying to get some form of momentum to get them to leave, because if you remember, they had, was it called the Celtic Tiger, a Celtic Dragon or something like that, I can't remember, where the EU banged in a load of money to develop places like Dublin and Dublin Docks and places like that. And that was there for a few years, and Ireland prospered and everyone thought it was brilliant. Then all of a sudden all that money disappeared, all that support disappeared. And there's a lot of people in Ireland now who are very, very disenchanted by that. But also there are a lot of Eastern European countries, Poland and Hungary, who are at the point where they are now thinking, well, is this EU thing such a good idea? So I think the EU are concerned that other people will follow in our wake, as it were. We will kind of break the ceiling, and if we're seen to be okay once we've gone through that, I think the EU are concerned that other people may realise that it's doable. So let me know what your answers to this, you know, given that we are now 15 months after the vote, why does there not seem to be any real light at the end of this tunnel? Give me your ideas. I say your ideas and opinions are as valid as mine. If you may well be a scholar in EU politics, and if you can be an unbiased scholar, God forbid, there's so many pro-EU scholars out there, let me know. Let me know what you're aware of regarding EU treaties and things like that. Why can we not just leave? This democracy thing, you know, people say you made a mistake, you didn't understand. Well, the same can be said for any general election. You know, people might vote like they did for when we had the coalition. Why, even politicians, why they chose to get in bed with the Tories, the Lib Dems? Why? You know, do they not understand democracy, how that works? Do voters just not understand that basically what our system is, it's first past the post. The cause that gets the most votes is the one that wins, regardless whether you like it or not. And the Remainers don't like that all of a sudden. They don't think that democracy applies to the Brexit vote. And there are many, many people in Parliament who believe just the same. So that's it for this one, people. I will look forward to hearing from you. I hope this is something that will get the old intercourse of ideas and opinions going. Let me know what you think. I say, especially if you happen to be a scholar in EU politics, by all means let me know. But please try to be unbiased. I've told you this view is a very partisan view. I voted with my belief of what the EU idea was, what I perceive it to be, and I do believe that we will be better off out of the EU. So I put my cards out on the table. Let me know what you think. Just before we sign off here, we on YouTube, on the creators page, we're being told that the creator studio is now being taken down. I think it might be tomorrow, I'm not too sure. I haven't found another good video creating studio app, for want of a better phrase, piece of software. I run Windows. I'm on Windows 10. If you know of one that's efficient, easy to use, because I don't want to be sat here for hours making videos, although there's enough time put into making these videos, let me know if you know of one, and I can kind of download it onto my machine, and I will use that as and when the Creator Studio disappears from YouTube. Anyway, people, thank you very much indeed for watching, and I shall speak to you again soon. Bye bye.